it was nobody's business. And Anthram, we look ahead onto Anubis, and personally, I don't really know what to expect, but all that I know is we've already seen a masterclass from the side of Nouns, but it started to deteriorate and went from a masterclass into a disaster class by the end of the 4v5.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? I mean, coming into this game, Nouns, they look hot to trot, and it feels like it'd be foolish to say, you know what, there's a chance, but the point is that that recency bias of yesterday's match is going to live in my mind up until we see this come through. So, Doolies have run. On, however, instead, first, giving us more of a question mark as to whether or not Elevate can pull this off. The Pistols, honestly, looking pretty contentious here for Elevate, not one way or another. As both of them swing back in from Canals, Peeping and Co. They want to double take this fight. I love it. The Glock even equipped from CJ at better close range to some argument. And they get the bomb down as a response. Good stuff from Elevate, and it's a 2-on-2 retake.
Awaiting his teammate in George. He's got those dualies, and he's not really close enough to help out. Now, though, he will arrive.
Oh, wow. Oh, my.
And arrive he does. I have no words, really, for how that one had unfolded. A painful way of forfeiting it with CJ to find 3 in the overall.
That was kind of ludicrous. But again, right, like, it's already night and day, whereas here it's a lot more competitive. And it's one round, right, so I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but this is kind of what I'm talking about, right, where Nouns, on paper, this shouldn't be close after what we just saw as a beating, but it might be. Like, it just might be.
It just might be.
The next best thing, but not quite me.
Okay, good. We are on the same page still. Okay, that's how you know.
We literally listened to an Eminem song before we got on the air.
It's true, it's our hype song. Maybe that is why you started speaking so fast. I actually think we might have solved it. You kind of like harnessed the energy of Marshall Mathers
and lemonade stand.
Yeah, okay. Junior sends out a shot. Heard around the world. As this time, that kill onto Dare on a second round sniper. They've done some great stuff, keeping it close enough. 1 kill back at A main. It's a good place to find it. It's always a nice alleyway and avenue mashed and mixed into one.
Makes it a new word.
Yeah. Or now, we're going to need to see a little bit more in order to push the envelope any farther ahead, but knowing that there's an op present might be something they could abuse, potentially.
Potentially. Just potentially. Won't put it too far ahead of us just yet. But Elevator setting themselves up pretty nicely for this beat. Dude, I always mix up these two sides. I swear to God. A take.
It happens.
And they have quite the numbers advantage for this defense. Right now, only one man stuck in the back of the site. It's Carson. Clear doesn't seem to come through all that great. And now, with kills littering the feed, I thought it would be a done deal. But this is a little more realistic now from the perspective of Elevate. You've got a half HP Shane, which, yes, worry about the HE from Rush. But at the same time, health might not matter if you could put this to a 1v1v Junior. And they're both going to path in knowing that fact. So all's well for Nouns. The second round comes through, even though contentious. Again, still one that they take home.
Nouns off to the same start. To the momentum gained from the previous map. Start to feel it. Pressure mounts. I think in a moment or two's time, things are going to get a little awkward. That AK-47 of Dare isn't going to be enough to break them open a round win. It's going to have to be something a little bit more well composed from the rest of the crew when the utility is overwhelming. With the SMG being actually spammed down on the other sides of that smoke for a little while, eventually shut down.
It's always so horrifying to take face on the other side of that mid smoke, right? Because you just never know what's going to happen, and there's a great instance of it. I mean, hell, AK spraying through it, 2 deagles shooting off. 1 stray bullet goes the way you don't want, and it's lights out for you. Just like it is for Dare and Snav, both out toward B main looking for leverage in the round. Only meet the butt end of the M4 that doesn't seem too friendly, and now they take space in A main as a counter. This isn't just a one-legged approach from Nouns. They are keeping tabs everywhere.
Make sure they know what's what's good all across the board. And yeah, there's one tab. Closed down at the end of the bar, at the end of the night. No more drinks for you, pal. You're cut off, but even still, not enough. This AK being shuffled even so, with Peeping's hands having body armor to go along with it. Maybe a kill or two, maybe a bomb plan as nobody's home.
I actually like this from Nouns a lot. I mean, knowing this is an eco round at its core, what does it matter if you give away a plant? Who cares, right? You just play your favorable 4-on-2 instead of maybe give away an isolated pick, and all of a sudden, never mind. No, it is still a 3-on-2 with extra damage. Sure, there's some brownie points on top of it. And the MP9 of Carson becomes even more lethal, even though at long range, shouldn't really change all that much. D is back turned, Peeping. Too many targets in too many spots. This round should be all but over as he goes back in from heaven. You've got the swing of Junior to worry about, and a third of Nouns to keep thinking of. And again, man, dude, this is just BM back and forth. I'm all for it.
Do love a little bit of BM, huh?
Of course. I mean,
maybe a lot of it even.
The only, like, new discovery I think I'd say I'd made for Lethal Company was something you would exclusively use to troll people. And no, I'm not kidding.
What is it?
I found out a way to make everybody in your server, so long as you're the host, make everybody lag.
Why would you do that?
It's so funny.
You and your friends are all just raging about how the game is lagging?
Oh, it's great.
You are a psychopath. That would ruin my night. I would be so mad. I would be mad at you for days because I would just think I'm crazy constantly.
Oh, I would play with it too. I'd be like,
I'm sure you
dude,
would.
Why doesn't it stop lagging?
Oh, you're a freak. Anyway, I actually hate that. Oh my god.
Rotten at my core.
We see up the up once more. 3-0. Elevate needing someone to step up to the plate. As nobody finding themselves at a positive KD. Snap just tying it at 3-3 and Shane and Rush exchange. That is going to have to elicit a response either way towards one side of the map or another from the CT. So it might actually work out in their favor as they drop a flash out E-box. Fight in. Rush gets one more than even that. Even better pulls out. They can play it passively and he might catch one on a freebie. But holy snap. He removed his head in a matter of a second. But shadow advantage. Carson. Great spray transfer from him.
It's just back and forth, dude. Like, this is such a roller coaster around, and Elevate just can't catch back up. Look at the money left on their backs. This is a long-winded save from Dia, no question. I mean, maybe if a kill is given to you as you walk up through mid, then you invite the possibility of this round. But that's all foresight that might not even come true, as by the time he gets through the long side of things, I don't think there'll be any... Wait, what? Hold on. They've just completely left A. I know it might be making a mountain out of a molehill, but if you get the plant, literally anything can happen. 1v3, you've got the op in Dia's hands, giving him this opportunity. It's all a game of timings. When does he turn around and look towards CT? When does he expect somebody to walk in A main? When does Carson actually show face? And where does Dia go, more importantly?
And will Goku defeat the evil Majin Buu? Sorry.
No, it doesn't matter, because we'll be finding out this time on CS2. Carson doesn't make anything more intriguing of it. And you know what? I'm kind of happy you cut it off.
I'm sorry.
No, that was great. That was great.
That was
great.
Really
you see what I'm saying? Just remember that, right? When you think, man, why would he ever do that to his friends? Because I saw the chance and I took it.
Right.
Bam. Enough said. Troll your friends. It's fun.
You're a bad influence of a person.
Be that guy that nobody wants to play with.
I thought you were going to go Counter-Strike 2. You know what I mean?
Ah, I should have.
I tried to lay you up for it, but sometimes
Talk
sometimes
about
it just
missing
doesn't work
free
like
throw
that.
or missing layups.
That's funny, yeah. But not so funny is this scoreline, and not so funny how this game is starting to really escape Elevate's grasp. Is the first time in a long time they've had at least the ability to come out on top of a damage exchange. He's actually spamming into Dia, and George is not stupid. He's heard it. He's trying to clear this corner, and he's spamming into it, now revealing the position of his opponent. Another player on the other side. The reface, no better. Snav's got a double, and now rushes in between a rock and a hard place. AK, though, headshot potential is there. Spray not going to connect.
And you're not going for this retake. I mean, all these rounds have come out quite costly. Even though some of them have included 3 players staying alive, it just hasn't been enough just yet. And again, even though it's still a 4-1 score, I'd argue way more contentious out of Elevate. And Nouns have got to run for the hills for the first time in what feels like forever. Junior Zop shouldn't be something we're worrying much about. And he's sticking around for longer than I'd really advocate for. Almost makes you wonder, is this really over? I mean, 2 of them are sticking in close proximity, so it's not like he's going to get anything away with just yet. But for a moment, right, you always want to wonder, is he just going to charge back in there? He's not.
Bomb goes up. Site goes up in flames. Things couldn't be more comfortable for Nouns in the round prior. The CT side getting as comfortable as they were needed to be put to a halt, and it is just the right time. Anthran, if they were able to do any more with that one, I would have been having just a little bit of a second doubt about the legitimacy of them being able to have any say in this game. But so far, I am going to be needing a little bit more in terms of a proven stat line for them to play with right now. Elevated. This player is going for that spray, and Dia is doing his best, or excuse me, Dare is doing his best Nav impression from the previous. The double lineup once again. George and Rush swept aside, and the fast wrap through the bottom side of mid. Even so, they're going to need a little bit more as Junior is isolated with the off.
Oh, wait a second. This round might not be over yet again. You still have Junior in CT spawn flirting with the idea of getting a pick, but now I think he's calling it under wraps. That's the second time in a row we've seen Nouns go for that nade flash play, and it hasn't worked. I wonder if they're going to completely wipe it out of the book for this game and maybe do some working on it in the future, because both times they did it, you couldn't have asked for a better setup. And by that I mean, you had people looking at the smoke, ready for it to be blown open, but not ready for the flash, and then what should have amassed a free kill for Nouns, and it's just flipped. It's not like you got away with just some damage. You lost the round because of it. You lost both of your con players because of it. And the last round, you even lost the opening pick because of it. So again, you wonder, do we see that again? I think it's just a clear no. They at least have the op on Junior still. Albeit, not as impactful as you'd like. A lot of the kills have been in rounds that, well, are either won already or dead already. This time round, you want to make sure that a weapon like this gets known across the board. Opening pick may not go their way, but Junior is still sticking around.
Sticking around for maybe,
Oh, God.
not long enough of a time as Carson. He's going to need some backup. Takes so much damage to Gador, and CJ can't do anything to support him on the 1 HP player. He might need to trade out for that op, and Rush doesn't have a gun at this point in time. What?
That's weird.
Eagle found eventually.
Oh.
Maybe too little too late.
This is kind of what I was talking about, right? I mean, one little thing changes from Elevate, and it's again night and day. Kind of like what I was talking about Nouns in the perspective of Dust 2 from yesterday. These are all kind of kills in dead time. It's not going to change much. He's still going to end up falling there. But no, earlier I was talking about how it looked like a completely different Nouns on Dust 2. Here it's a completely different Elevate, because I'm looking at some of these duels, right? I'm thinking about them. I'm cross-comparing them in my head to what we saw from them in the previous map, where it felt kind of scared, skittish, not really all that Elevate known for dueling. Here, Just seeing people run out, insta headshots, rip heads off shoulders instantly, win rounds. It's a complete different look to Elevate, and it's working well.
A good one, yeah. It took a little while, you know, just a little bit to get to that point, but, you know, the sooner that it takes, or the less time that it takes, excuse me, it might look good for them, but later in the game, if you can show that fortitude, it might actually carry you on a little bit longer. It might be a little bit more longevity prone. You can see here that Nouns starting to run out of gas and starting to run out of money. The 4-4 horizon is not too far away from us. They are certainly encroaching on that position to where if they do get into a good enough standing where they might be able to just cross their T's and dot their I's in the way of getting rid of these SMGs and pistols that may be thrown their way any round after.
I think Khan is the number one area of worry for Nouns right now, considering how volatile it's been these past few rounds and the impact it's had in losing or winning duels. But for now, we see a big pause in the mid-round. 38 seconds, and while utility is sparse for Nouns, it's not going to matter much if you end up prohibiting yourself from a site's entrance. That's kind of what they're doing. George, he's still got a molly to keep him out of con.
Yeah.
When stuff starts flying over the site, guess what's going to happen? This molly instantly going to go in, snap. That, as soon as he throws this piece of utility, it's choreographed.
Yeah.
And there it goes.
Junior needs to get in, though. Rush is here. He's made his way through CT spawn. Thankfully so. He's going to find both of the players making their way through. Damage enough exchange by Rush, and 4 kills effectively he's had influence on. And the two of them, they seem to have this one on their own. George being there never actually come to seem to matter, and the off locked out from the smoke. He wants to just save onto that much, and I think they'll let him.
Kind of have to, right? I mean, as the CT side here, you don't have a ton of cash. That was, as is, a very scrappy buy that they gambled on. They threw everything they had on the table, hoping that they can stop Elevate with the change they made to the game plan. I think a lot of it revolved around Khan in that round. It's a great adjustment from Nouns. And Elevate kind of, I'm not going to say looked lost, but seems to be caught off guard by the lack of any form of aggression from Nouns in that round, to where you saw them go for some really late take that just never worked.
Kept away from E-Box right now by Rush, who uses his 7-second timer molly, topped by an 18-second timer smoke, and those two pieces of utility being gone from B are going to be quite significant for the later stages, as his teammate has used his already as well. But the T's are actually looking to force the issue, maybe a little bit haphazardly, but Rush, he gets that first, sticks around expecting another, anticipating a new fight, and he's able to not get out of dodge. It's George now stuck into it alone, asking for a rotation, or at least a cheat.
Again, Khan has been such an integral piece. To lose it again this early on as Nouns is going to create one hell of a pressure vortex for you to try and deal with. You can see what they do to adjust. George walks straight into a nade. It's all with the peace of mind of ensuring you don't have to worry about Khan. The flash is sublime, but the kill is better. Again, another body falls at this volatile angle, and Nouns don't have an answer.
I was wondering if he was even able to going to be getting out of that position there. I believe it was George pulling a piece of utility, as it looked like he was between two minds as to whether or not he wanted to re-peek there. Now kind of just playing the timeout, waiting for his teammates outside of E main to be ready, as well as for D to sell the fake towards the other site. He's got the AWP. He's going to be the least of the worries of Elevate here, though, as the AKs sneak in. Carson spots the first. I think his teammate's going to bait off of that one and play for it. And Carson could just tuck and hide.
But he's not gonna. He wants this kill! And that bloodthirst might have just cost him a big opportunity at the round, but the fact is, they still have to go and recover this bomb. CJ's nade used on popping open the palace smoke and trying to drop the planter before that thing goes down. However, now, doesn't seem like he has much interest whatsoever. And it was a risk from Carson, but one that does not pay off. You have a kit if you're CJ. Maybe he's still curious about this. He is sticking around in CT. He's got a smoke, he's got a flash. Again, talked about this earlier from Junior, but I think at the end of the day, you're just looking for a reason to get back in, and when it doesn't come, you just call it done and dusted at 4.
CJ gets away with an AK, 5 for 4. This is still a successful half for Nouns, no matter
Oh, yeah.
what happens from here on out. Like, they'll be fine with 5. That's good. This is a map that can really be worked with that number of rounds. More often than not, that's what you're expecting, maybe even a little less in some instances, but 5 is enough. Pushing it to 6. That's where I expect this to go. I expect this to be a 6-6 half, personally. I think it's going to take just a little bit more oomph, though. The decisions being made by the T side almost in some ways giving Nouns the opportunity to get themselves into more favorable spots to the mid to late round. Especially towards E-Box in the last few have been a little bit questionable. But even still, yeah, exactly. This is one of those instances. It feels like that one was kind of just forced. But right now, CJ forcing a fight out A main. Only going out so far, not to be exposed by the player up top, peeping, not able to take a shot. But even still, they have to be weary now with Dia in the red.
Again, Elevate have to move cautiously in this round. We've already seen what can happen when they have to play a little slower. Nouns, great at dictating the round when the pace starts to creep down to a crawl, and again, CJ uses it for an opener. And everybody falls back. I love this call from Nouns.
It's a good one. It puts the pause on a lot of different things in order to maintain, reset, and regain. Is don't return CJ. That would be poorly advised and ill-advised to walk through a smoke solo typically, but this is a situation where drastic times call for drastic measures, and Shane's going to try and do the same, except not walk through instead. Whoa. Oh, he's bypassed Junior entirely, and CJ is like, dude, he's probably in that smoke, and he's actually going to be bitten in the ass for it. He's exposed to both of them to be fools in that moment, and only then is Shane going to be on for a 1v5, 2 kills found, but 11 HP, doubt it. 20 seconds to go forward. He's got to walk into the A site to plant. He's got to smoke. Maybe he can at least get that much off Anthran.
Here's the issue too, right? There's only 17 seconds. You have to do something. There is no way you end this round with, you know, your gun. You're losing your gun one way or another. You can just choose whether it's before or after time, or if it's contentious, back to the smoke he goes. He said it before. He was inside of one to try and get into the round. He's going to have to get out of one to find a way back into it again. Nouns struggling to find the bomb inside of the smoke, guys. It's
G2
only
defused.
such a big radius. You know what really sucks about that?
Huh.
I was like a diehard G2 fan when that happened.
Wasn't it like 16-1 though?
It was
or was that
not,
a different game?
No.
Oh no, that
was
was
a
the
different
Zipnix
game.
Ninja Defuse I'm thinking of. Different round entirely, including Astralis on nuke. But yeah, continue.
No,
So
I remember that. Right, it was, and I loved that team too. It was what? Kenny S. I don't think it was Nexa because they hadn't picked him up yet. I'm pretty sure he was still on Crazy at the time. So it was Lucky, Jax, Kenny S. I want to say Shocks and Body.
Kenny S, Shocks and Body. Okay.
Could be wrong on Shocks.
You were 4 out of 5. It was actually. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Because I'm pretty sure that was the major that Nexa was still on Crazy.
We'll talk about it later. Talk about it later.
You got it. You got it.
Round live. After round, we can discuss it. But Dia's dead, dude. That's 3 out of the 4 letters. It's bound to have happened.
I can't believe I missed it.
Huh?
Nothing. Oh, and may this A site, may this B take rest in peace, because as soon as they crack in, there's 3 CTs with their guns out. Crossfires evident everywhere the eye can see, and a nade closes it off before Snap can even think to attempt to clutch. No bomb plant means you're kind of running out of guap to buy into this last round.
Okay, name the 5.
Name the 5?
Yeah, go.
I'm very confident that it was Lucky, Jax, Kenny S, Body.
Okay.
I'm not so sure about the 5th. It could have been Shocks, because I know it wasn't Nexa.
It was Shocks, and I haven't looked this up, but I'm almost 100% sure because I remember the game. It was Amanek and not Body by that point.
It was Amanek! Right, yes. Sorry, I forgot about Amanek.
But yeah.
I loved him.
I used to love, yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
I was so mad when they kicked Amanek and kept Jax.
He's one of my favorite players. But either way, time moves on. He's no longer at the same level any longer. Well, he's probably a little bit higher than this level, all things considered, but even so, guns being fired down through mid, inside of the smoke. But first, before that, it'll be Shane who was found. 2 pistols still stand their ground on the outside of A main. A pop through looking to maybe let that lurk out through Dia in mid late with the only AK.
Slow and steady wins the race, so thinks Elevate, but got some bad news for him. The pace has not helped them whatsoever, and Junior continues to batten that story home. Everywhere you look again, this time on A, seems to be a tale of destruction. Why not? Nouns biting off a little more than they can chew with only 2 on the A site's establishment, but a low HP peeping isn't going to do you any favors, and now, you know. Again, it's toyed up to a clutch. Now, you get this time to at least attempt it, right? You don't get shut down by a stray HE. Doesn't mean it's any more favoring.
Snab, my friend, what do you have to offer us? It's a 1v3, 30 seconds left. If we're doing the rule of threes, I think that the third is going to be them not being able to convert on a half. We'll see whether or not they can pull this one through on T side, Elevate, or Nouns if they can finish it later on.
Well, it is a lot more competitive. There is that. 8-4, 9-3 doesn't seem like such a big difference, but it makes an absolute world of it when you think about the difference of a lot of the rounds that you saw Nouns win. Closely contested in almost every affair, leaves Elevate still plausible when we switch sides. So Nouns very comfortable on the offensive front. That's why they go with a quick mid-pop with only Snab in defense.
All right, well, banging it out in mid, no time to waste. Nouns want to just throw it in their face, and I love this call, but I don't like the call that one player goes in one direction while all the others go a different. I think that they should probably all move into the same way. Rush's body, sacrificial lamb, though, powering up by blood sacrifice. The rest of the Nouns squad finding kills as Junior with a quick 3 and 1 for George.
They just left one dude sitting in Palace and said, you know what, you can go ahead and get your shot off. Same with this. I mean, no kid, not even close. Yeah, Dooley's picked back up by Junior, and Nouns are playing absolutely no games to try and close this out. Again, the pistols are overwhelming for Nouns right now. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're 4 for 4 on them.
Fo.
Better deal than Wendy's.
Talking about that fo. Wendy's is the fo.
Not anymore.
Or it was.
Not anymore. Was.
Oh, that was the better deal. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Now it's 5.
Now it's 5.
Wah, wah.
Still stand by the fact that that is an insane fast food deal, and they were with it for longer. Okay, so I don't want to hear any of this or that about McDonald's or Burger King. You can't just hop in after 3 years of that deal and be like, well, ours is better.
It is though.
Well, you know what else is better? LeBron, pistols, single P250 into the fray. The rest with P2K or USP. S for silence, as nothing is really going on across the map for the side of Elevate, and that's going to be pretty telling for Nouns.
Yeah, this should not be a round we discuss much of, really. TJ, it's a feeding frenzy for the Galil. Could have gotten more. 3 kills still ain't bad. You only end up losing the 1 gun, and that's an easy upgrade. Rush can, wiggle his way on over to pick up at the end. Else, maybe surprises. 1 with the P250 looking astray, though. Yeah, spotting him inside of the smoke ain't gonna do you much justice, and Rush is too dangerous to be left alive, says Junior. As they escape to a 10-4 lead, Elevate have 1, maybe 2 rifles built up in store before this game goes ass up. My hopes aren't set high, really. Elevate, they don't have a lot of backlog when it comes to utilities terms to help them out, and they also don't have any kits, most notably. So if the exec comes in, if they pop through this smoke, if they find the 1 kill, I almost imagine there's going to be a no contest for this A-Site's defense. Peeping, I guess not anymore. Cavalry has arrived as they look to set up a stronger defense, but this nade is really going to start chipping away. Opening pick goes their way with a lot of damage in retaliation. Now they start adding up. Pen to paper, says Snav and Dia. As Dinks force their hand in pushing back in. That's an HE again that could have been catastrophic. However, instead, Nouns are really struggling to creep back to this site. Plant should be theirs, but Elevate want to keep this pressure applied even whilst the numbers are being tapped. Everybody moving in from CT spawn. There is no backlogging flank of somebody coming through for they main. Instead, they're leaving a lot up to the crossfires, in which George wants to do everything himself. He and Junior on a 2-man pain train. They're ready to put this game out of arm's reach. 1 bullet, the difference. Who wins it first? It's George. Quiet on us 2, loud on Anubis. It is a kill difference of 1 across the entire lineup of Nouns. 12, 12, 12, 12, 13. It's a whole team affair.
This is a dire strait. Not the way that we had seen this unfolding. I think that, not this series anyway. Maybe this map following the first, right? But this is a little bit more than anyone probably could have put pen to paper for. Love to see the progression from Nouns this season even still, though, playing to their best, playing to their absolute peak regionally. And this is a good omen for them to play up against your Nouns and your, your NRGs and your M80s, right? Like, so if this is going to be a team that we foresee or predict to be making it all the way in this season to that Pro League spot, this isn't a team I would be surprised to see in Pro League, but certainly one that I would expect to have to pull a lot more in the way of improvement from then to now.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it was Wildcard versus Nouns for the last ESL playoffs or ESL Pro League spot last season. Right. And again, I kind of expect to see Nouns back up at that echelon. And you know what? I wanted to see Nouns pull off a result like this because it really goes to show how strong of a team they are. Again, I look at Elevate. I don't think anybody's questioning when I say, yeah, just 3 playoffs, no question. Maybe even like quarterfinals.
I'd say
like they are right. Like they're going far. So that just adds to the tally of how impressive this has been for Nouns. Like, this isn't just you're beating on a team that's going to go right back down to advanced in the next season. They're not going to put up a fight. This is beating up a team who, in all like extent of stats should be fighting back.
I'm pretty sure
but
this
they're
team
not.
is going to Philadelphia, Chicago, I think.
Who are they?
Nouns.
Or Nouns?
Elevate probably in some capacity as well, because they typically do, but I know now I'm almost
Yes.
100% Nouns are.
Maybe that means I'll pull up.
Is that true?
I could.
I'm going.
I know.
How do you know? I only decided like a week ago.
I asked you.
Oh, maybe I don't remember. I only
Wow,
decided like
how fake.
five or so days ago.
No. Only decision to be made right
Oh,
now is
crap.
whether Elevate want to contend for more rounds. The answer looking currently to be no. Dia,
Oh, Frank.
an untraded kill, and they continue their powerhouse up through mid. Dare only good for the one. Is Snav is overwhelmed. This game has got overwritten all through it.
Oh, hold on though. Keeping could make a spoiler of this one as he finds that first, changes his elevation across their placement to find the next, and Rush is too quick to the trigger though, keeping himself in check. He's played the pre-fire maps one too many a time, but Shane with an MP9, I'm not really 100% sold on his possibility to get back into it, but if he finds his first frag on the site itself with the AK retrieved, I see as a Molly, I know that he knows that there's nothing else going on towards Heaven's side, so once he clears that out after the smoke will fade, Rush's position will be made known, Anthran. He might have this one in the bag.
It is not over anymore. Again, ripped back open. Shane not really hiding his route of approach, but this smoke makes things a lot more interesting.
Molly.
Couple of bullets thrown in. Is Rush gonna buy onto this? No, he's not, especially when he got the HE. Take a quick jiggle. No more anonymity as he runs back behind the pillar. Remember, Shane didn't have a kit, so even if the kill came through, it was actually all a game of smoke and mirrors that Nouns were never going to drop. It's a difference of 1 round after an 8-4 half. It was competitive for a moment in time, but that moment has passed.
Frankly, in terms of post-game show and in terms of being really analytical about this, I feel like there isn't really a whole lot that I want to say looking back on this game. And not for the sake of that I don't have anything. It's almost for the sake of it didn't really look like the same Elevate that we come to expect. I think it looked like a completely different animal.